Guys, welcome to the channel. Enlightenment through service is our subject today. Again, spiritual growth, being your higher self, a book by Sanaya Roman. Before we get started, I'd like to encourage you, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to the channel. A lot of good information coming out multiple times a week, and we find it very valuable to be able to reach out and to be able to notify our listeners when this content is available. And I think you'll find it particularly empowering. So please subscribe. So let's get started. Chapter 16, this is enlightenment through service. So we're going to find out today how we further our path growth using service, the element of service, doing for others, and how that applies to our own enlightenment. So this is a very, if you will, enlightening chapter. There are many paths to enlightenment. There are paths that involve breathing and posture techniques, and others that involve disciplining the will. There are paths that train the mind through meditation, of course, and there's a path of devotion and one of willful action. A major opportunity for spiritual growth exists in these times. It is the path of enlightenment through service. Now, much of your spiritual growth will come through serving and teaching others. You do not need to have a public platform or to be well known or to do work that others consider important or contribute on an enormous level. You can add light to the world through anything that you do, through your job, your family life, and even social activities. Now, all teaching is learning. All empowerment of others is self-empowerment. When I read this, it made me think of a quote that I heard from Michael Beckwith, who has said, and I recall this because it's so powerful. Number one, that you only get to keep what you're willing to give away. And number two is that you only truly learn what you're willing to teach. And initially, upon hearing these words, I was confounded because it seems to be contradicting. But the further down the path, the more my consciousness rose. I began to embrace these concepts and really, truly to understand what it means. For example, I do have a master's in education, and I find it incredibly enjoying to be able to be in a classroom in front of students, or even on a social or community support side when I'm mentoring kids. I find that incredibly enjoying. And the thing is, I always come away from it learning something. I go to teach, but I come away learning something. And so I became more aware of the truth of these statements through actual application. Perhaps you will as well. Now, there's no way you can teach and empower others without teaching and empowering yourself. As a teacher, you create the space that allows learning to take place. You empower and you teach others every time you create an opportunity for them to grow. By learning to create that space for others to grow spiritually, you grow spiritually yourself. As you serve others, you'll gain a radiance and a light around you that will create opportunities and good things everywhere you go. You'll find increasing prosperity, deep inner satisfaction, and the respect and love of those around you, which of course is the reward in service itself. You don't want to create an opportunity to serve someone and then promote it as if it's some sort of marketing campaign, which a lot of people do. The reward for service is that. And the reason it is because we understand at higher consciousness who the other is. We're all one. So the concept of doing unto others as we would have them do to us is exactly what service is about, because the other is us. We're all one. Now, we'll call you who are following the path of enlightenment through service world servers. World servers. Now, being a world server means honoring yourself and others. It means thinking of how what you do can serve other people. It means coming from your integrity and standing by your deepest values. It means bringing out the best in people. assisting them in discovering their potential and the higher plans of their lives. Which, as I get further into my life's walk and begin to see more and more unveiled to me from a spiritual side, I really have come to believe that that's really all we're here to do, honestly, is to pour into others, is to be of service to others, is to assist others and to give and to give. It really is the essence of what I think we're here to do. When you first ask for an opportunity to make a difference in the world, you may find yourself putting energy into making your own life work at higher levels. Of course, you cannot give something you don't already have. The more skill you have in manifesting and handling day-to-day issues with clarity and love, the more easily you can accomplish your higher purpose. Now, as you reach upward and increase your light, you'll draw to yourself all the forms that will make it possible to get your work out to the world. So no worries, for those of us who are and have embarked on entrepreneurships and are looking to create new spaces in our lives for additional revenue streams and manifestation, these sorts of things. What happens on our spiritual growth, these desires come to us, and our subconscious mind and our source, our God, our light, whatever it is and however it is you identify with the special force, it brings to us the circumstances and events in order for these things to manifest. So no worries there. It will be accomplished. As you reach upward and increase your light, you'll draw these things to yourself. Once you request an opportunity to serve, you're heard by your higher self and the higher forces of the universe. Every opportunity will come to you just as soon as you are ready. And that's key, because you want to be ready to serve. The last thing you want to do is to have the heart for people and want to do for people and then create a situation where perhaps they're in a worse, circumstance after you've, tried to assist them versus not. So we want to be in a position to help. So, for example, if you want to assist someone with losing weight and you are having difficulty with your diet and your weight yourself, perhaps that's not either the right time or the right opportunity to help. So we must be strong. We must be in these areas of support. We must be already producing the types of manifestations we want in order to train and teach other people how to do it. Empowerment is different from simply helping people. If people are hungry, for example, you can give them food and you can help them temporarily. They are empowered, however, when you teach them how to get food for themselves, and they can eat on an ongoing basis. When we assist people, perhaps helping them find solutions to problems, they either remain the same or they make positive changes in their lives. If they make changes, then we've shifted their consciousness and made a true contribution to them. Then they'll have more choices and higher visions of themselves, which they can use to create better lives. And really, that's what, again, I think it's all about. Consciousness can be shifted in simple ways. When you are with children or with friends, focus on what you can do that will create a shift for them. When you meet people, think of what you can contribute to them, not what you will get from them, but what you can contribute to them. If you're getting together with friends, for example, ask your higher self, what can I do as we get together to expand each of them? Ask yourself, how can I serve them with my words and with my actions? Anytime you come from your heart, speak with love, and assist people in recognizing their divinity, you shift their consciousness. In other words, when you're your higher self, when you're your best self, you provide to them the opportunity, the space for empowerment and for learning, and you also are being spoken through. Your higher self, your higher consciousness can deliver the words needed to encourage and empower people at the right time. Your timing is right. You can shift consciousness in small children by contacting their higher selves as well, even just for a moment. Now just imagine your higher self contacting theirs, telling them mentally, I see the beauty and the light in you. I recognize you for the great being that you are. Children will usually respond in some way to your silent messages, and you will have assisted in their spiritual awakening. And as we know, children tend to be a lot more sensitive from the spiritual side because they have less what I'm just going to call junk on their hard drive. We've been conditioned through life, and when at 30, 40, 50 years old and more, we've got a lot of stuff to remove and replace and delete. A child does not. So many times they are pure and have a much more higher level of integrity, I should say. Now, it's important to know who and when to assist people and when not to. This is probably as important as your ability or your desire to want to serve people, the discernment. Because I know for me personally, I have been involved in many different social and community outreach programs and organizations. And on one hand, I have a strong desire to help people, but on the other hand, I found many of these interactions very frustrating. And so at the end of the day, I don't know if I really provided the type of assistance that I wanted to provide to the people. I think people got clothes and food and different things like that, but did I empower them? I don't think so on every hand. And was I frustrated? Did I feel like a drain of energy? Yes, definitely. So now I use what I'm about to tell you to assist me in determining whether or not I should get involved with an organization, a person, or a group in order to, apply my particular skill set and my desire to help people. So this is how you do it. Now, it takes a certain amount of your energy to shift someone's consciousness to a higher level. It's important to learn how much energy to put out to a creative source to shift. Let me say that again. It's important to learn how much energy to put out to create that shift. You may have experience helping someone with a few words, of advice, encouragement, etc. He or she made the changes and the problem was solved. You probably felt good about it and you both left relatively energized. There was an exchange of energy. You may have had other exchanges with friends in which you poured a lot of energy into assisting them, but their reoccurring problems never get solved. You probably felt drained, for the energy you put out didn't create any lasting changes in their lives. Now, turn these people over to their own higher selves to help them grow. Send light to them. From a distance, you can do that. You can use the power of your imagination. Refer back to some of our teachings on Neville Goddard in terms of seeing them in the states that you would like to see them in and sending them light. Send them light and release your responsibility for making their lives work. So there's two things going on here. One, you're distancing yourselves from that particular opportunity. You're saying, you know what, this may not be the best time or the best individual or the best group to connect with for this purpose. It's not the best use of my time or my energy. However, I do want to wish them well. So from a distance, I'm going to send them light and encourage them. See them in the states that I would like for them to be. Okay? But also, I'm not going to feel like I'm responsible for them. And that's important because a lot of times we may witness or know people or persons who we may have some attachment to, and we may feel responsible for them. And they're literally draining your energy. And no matter what you do and how you assist, it seems like their problems are always reoccurring. So it's important to understand and to be able to discern who you can help and who you cannot. The higher your consciousness, the more of a penalty you pay for putting your energy where it doesn't create a shift. You may feel tired, you may feel drained, you may even feel sick. If people feel like burdens, it's a sign that carrying them is not for their higher good, and also not for yours. You may be taking away their lessons and slowing down their growth. As a parent, I know I've been guilty of this. Not that I feel like my kids are burdens, but I feel like I want to help them sort of evade all of the different obstacles in life. And if I do that, they're not going to learn their lessons. They're not going to build character the same way that I did. So contrast has to come into our lives in order for us to be empowered, to know that we can turn our obstacles into opportunities, and to have some reference point. So the next time something happens, we can look back and say, you know what, I made it through this situation and that situation. Here's how I did it. So here's what I'm going to do today. But if you don't allow them to have situations or tests and obstacles, then they're not going to know their own strength. So that's just from a parental standpoint. Now, lastly, you can talk directly to people's higher selves. Get quiet, mentally ask people's higher selves if it is appropriate for you to give assistance, and if they still need to learn the lessons their problems are trying to teach them. Problems, contrasts, obstacles are always asking questions and trying to teach us things, trying to get us to a higher level of consciousness, the ultimate goal, of course, being self-realization. So you don't want to take away someone's opportunity to solve their problem or to understand what the contrast in their life is about, because it's trying to open their eyes to a particular thing. And if we continue to insert ourselves involuntarily, or voluntarily, I should say, we may be disturbing the universe's lesson plan, if you will. Now, you can also ask your own higher self for a symbol, for a picture, or for a message about how ready people are to grow and how much assistance to give them. Use your higher self as your consultant, if you will, in these cases. When you see an opportunity to help someone, consult your higher self first. Is this, am I here for this person? Was this person brought into my sphere today, into my consciousness today, so that I can help them? And then continue to query and see how you feel. How do you feel? What is your higher self revealing to you about the situation? Is it okay to proceed? Should you, what's the lesson for you to learn here? When you tune into people before you assist them and get a feeling of no, don't give assistance now. Simply send them light to use as they want, and let go of any discomfort you may have about watching them learn their lessons. That's a difficult part, but one we've got to learn. Now, to serve others, you'll need compassion, and you'll also need the ability to detach. Like I said, as a parent, sometimes it's very difficult to watch your kids go through things, but at the end of the day, they need to experience some level of test, contrast, being able to jump over hurdles themselves to know that they can, to literally know that they can. Now, to awaken others, you need to be on fire yourself, aglow with your own inner light. One of the greatest gifts you can give to the world, here's the summary of the lesson today. One of the greatest gifts you can give to the world is to feel enthusiastic and to be charged with energy, loving your work and your life. This way you'll draw other people to you with your own enthusiasm. Radiate these qualities you want to see in others. Mahatma Gandhi said, we can be the change that we want to see in the world. And even through the teachings of Jesus, I don't think Jesus had this huge desire to go out and train people and to, what is done in religious sects today, saving people and all this type of concept. It more was him being his ultimate best self. It drew people to him. And people begin to query and ask questions about, hey, how do you do this? And how are you able to do that? These sorts of things. And then you can share with them because they're now open and willing to listen and learn. So I hope today, guys, has been empowering. Again, if you've not subscribed to the channel already, please do so. We're back here at least 3 or 4 times a week with new content. So please make sure that you continue to check us out. Have a great day.